In the vast realm of medical journeys, some stories resonate deeply, not merely for the challenges they present, but for the resilience and determination they inspire. Today, we share with you the compelling tale of Allison. We first came across her story on WholeHealthChicago.com. Over 6 years, Allison's quest for health unveils an intricate tapestry of patient advocacy, the shortcomings of conventional healthcare, and the invaluable strength of persistence. Listen closely, for her journey serves as a beacon for us all, reminding us of the power of self-belief and the significance of seeking answers, even when they seem just out of reach. Now let's delve deep into Allison's journey. Despite my admonishments to stay well if you want to avoid the multifarious problems of our healthcare system, sometimes, and through no fault of your own, you'll get sick. Your best chance of emerging unscathed from whatever ails you is having what's called a self-limiting condition, namely, one that goes away by itself, with or without doctoring. With any condition that brings the phrase, "if symptoms persist, see your doctor," to mind, well, best of luck. Most of the time, the gods will be on your side. Your doctor will figure out what's wrong, and you'll do just fine. But here's the story of a woman with persistent symptoms who saw not one doctor, but at least 10 over 6 long years. Some of her docs came from the best medical centers in town, others were what might be called alternative. Finally, getting nowhere, she took matters into her own hands. And that's really what this story is all about. Allison is in her 50s, very bright, and until 6 years ago, quite healthy. It was specifically during one week in 2005 when she and her husband were vacationing in Mexico that both of them suddenly became ill. He had the fairly standard Turista and recovered with antibiotics, but her symptoms were different. She initially experienced a sudden onset of severe nausea, dizziness, and profound exhaustion, and the first time this happened actually blacked out. Allison and her husband returned to the U.S., and from that week forward, her health was never the same again. Although Allison felt guardedly better on her return, she began to experience peculiar week-long episodes of just feeling very ill. Nausea, dizziness, and weakness, all severe enough to send this usually active woman to bed for a week. Then she'd recover enough to return to work. Recover enough means never really feeling well, however. And a few weeks later, another episode, another week in bed. Allison's primary care HMO physician could find nothing wrong with her, even though she returned multiple times. "I couldn't get them to order more tests," she told me, "but I knew something was wrong. I felt like I was pounding on their door to let me in, with no response. I knew they just didn't want to see me anymore." This image, by the way, can be found in Franz Kafka's novel, The Trial. After 2 years of this, Allison's symptoms began to change for the worse. Now an episode was accompanied by stomach cramps and watery diarrhea. And still her HMO physician had no suggestions. Not a diet change, anti-diarrhea medication, nothing. Then one day the episodes stopped being episodes and instead her diarrhea was nonstop. Seriously weakened by days and days of watery stools, Allison changed medical centers and went to their emergency room. It was obvious she was extremely dehydrated, and she was admitted for intravenous fluids and antibiotics. Unfortunately, I arrived at the beginning of a 3-day weekend. They sort of forgot about me, and by Sunday they were treating me for getting too much fluid. I was literally drowning. Finally, still in the hospital, Allison was seen by a gastroenterologist, had a colonoscopy, and was told she had a form of ulcerative colitis. She was started on steroid drugs, discharged, and actually felt guardedly better for a while, though never fully well. Allison herself doubted the diagnosis, however, and after weeks of taking steroids, decided to see a different gastroenterologist at a different medical center for a second opinion. He didn't believe she had ulcerative colitis, but rather celiac disease. She was advised to stop the steroids and also stop eating all gluten. Again, she felt a little better, but knew she wasn't out of the woods. Something still wasn't right. Allison gives up on conventional medicine. When, despite cutting out gluten, her symptoms escalated again, Allison was told to restart the steroid drugs. This is the point, she told me, at which she gave up on conventional medicine, deciding to try her luck with traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, and nutritionists. And still, no progress. Then, on her own, Allison began reading about intestinal parasites. On her own, ordering a parasite testing kit. Each of the 3 stool specimens she submitted showed a large number of a parasite called Blastocystis hominis. Delighted to finally have discovered her problem, she took the results to her gastroenterologist, who promptly disparaged the whole issue of self-diagnosis and the non-hospital lab she'd used, shrugging off the report and its conclusion. He may have even tested Allison's stools and identified the same parasite, but see number 3 below for more on that. After some online searching, Allison located an MD parasitologist in the UK and arranged a Skype consultation. Based on her test results, he completely agreed with her diagnosis, saying that of course she'd acquired it on her trip to Mexico and that he'd send a list of the prescription drugs she needed to clear the infection. Because he wasn't licensed in the US, he couldn't prescribe the meds himself, advising Allison to give the medication list to her own doctor. The UK parasitologist even added the name of the compounding pharmacy he most trusted to prepare his anti-parasite mix, a combination of 3 prescription medications taken together over a period of 10 days. Not wanting to go back to either of her gastroenterologists, Allison located a sympathetic physician who retested her from a second parasitology lab. And again, all 3 specimens show heavy amounts of Blastocystis hominis. This physician, however, was reluctant to prescribe the UK medication combo because one of the 3 drugs wasn't FDA approved for parasites. Instead, this doctor prescribed a standard blastocystis treatment, which the UK physician had already warned Allison wouldn't work, not strong enough. He was right. It didn't. Allison makes her way to Whole Health Chicago. At this point, Allison scheduled a visit with us. I admit that as I sat listening, utterly enthralled by her 6-year quest to get well, from the first sentence I had a clear sense of what she was going to say based on 3 facts. Number 1. If you're healthy and you visit a developing or newly industrialized country, such as Mexico, become ill there and can't get better, you've acquired a parasite. Period. Number 2. The mail-order labs for parasite testing, Genova, Metametrix, Meridian, etc., are actually superior to hospital labs. But in Allison's case, old-fashioned physician arrogance had reared its ugly head. Veterinarians are also quite good at parasite diagnosis, though sadly, your health insurance won't work in the office of the compassionate vet who cares for your terrier. Number 3. Many U.S. gastroenterologists do not believe Blastocystis hominis is a pathogenic, i.e. disease-causing, parasite. I know this may be hard to accept, but because I trained in the same hospitals myself, I knew that even though Allison's stools had been repeatedly tested for parasites, when the results she showed her doctors said blastocystis, these physicians shrugged it off as harmless. But Blastocystis hominis from Mexico isn't the same as the U.S. variety, and I have a sneaking suspicion that Allison's doctors forgot to ask a key question. Did you do any foreign travel before you became ill? In the brains department, there wasn't much for me to do. Allison had just held my rapt attention with a textbook history of a chronic parasite infestation as detailed as I might hear in a lecture by a university parasitologist. She then spread before me 6 separate stool specimen reports from 2 highly respected labs, all showing heavy growth Blastocystis hominis. The labs had even made photographs of the parasites. Allison then handed me her correspondence with the eminent UK parasitologist, his prescription, and the phone number of the compounding pharmacy he preferred. All I had to do was pick up the phone. Allison's journey, filled with determination and resilience, is not just a personal tale, but one that carries universal lessons. It's essential for us to delve deeper and understand the broader implications of her experience. By distilling the core takeaways, we can draw inspiration, gain insight, and perhaps even better navigate our own health challenges. Let's reflect on the key lessons we can draw from Allison's story. 1. Self-advocacy and persistence. Despite facing multiple misdiagnoses and encountering doctors who dismissed her concerns, Allison persisted in her quest for a correct diagnosis and effective treatment. Her determination showcases the importance of advocating for oneself, especially when you believe something is wrong with your health. 2. Limits of conventional medicine. Allison's experience highlights the limitations and gaps in conventional medicine. From the reluctance of her primary care physician to order more tests, to the misdiagnosis by a gastroenterologist, Allison's journey sheds light on the pitfalls patients can encounter. 3. The value of alternate perspectives. In her search for answers, Allison explored both alternative medicine and self-research. This underscores the potential value of looking beyond mainstream healthcare, especially when conventional treatments don't provide relief. 4. The importance of comprehensive patient history. The failure of multiple doctors to ask Allison about her travel history, a key detail that could have guided her diagnosis much earlier, emphasizes the importance of comprehensive patient interviews. 5. The role of specialized testing. Through her own research, Allison utilized mail-order labs for parasite testing, which were arguably more effective than the tests from the hospital labs. This highlights the value of specialized testing in certain cases. 6. Awareness about parasites. The narrative points out a potential gap in the knowledge of some U.S. gastroenterologists regarding the pathogenic nature of certain parasites. Recognizing that not all strains of a parasite are the same, especially across different regions, is crucial for accurate diagnosis and treatment. 7. Collaboration in healthcare. Allison's interaction with the UK parasitologist showcases the potential benefits of seeking expertise beyond local or national borders. The final resolution came from collaborative efforts between the patient, an overseas specialist, and a local doctor willing to listen. 8. Conclusion. Allison's story serves as a testament to the importance of listening to patients, comprehensive diagnostics, and the potential of collaboration in healthcare. Overall, Allison's journey is a cautionary tale about the challenges patients can face within the healthcare system, and the importance of persistence, self-advocacy, and exploring all available resources.